Hello, TankSlayer710 here, and today I will be going over a vehicle currently in the premium shop, the Kampfpanzer 70. In this review, I will be going over the tank's history, then I will follow up with some quick gameplay, and finally I will evaluate this tank in the holy trinity of tanks, the armor, the speed, and the gun, and be going over if I think it's worth it or not. In the early 1960s, both of the most modern main battle tanks of NATO, the M60 and the Leopard 1, were beginning to show their age. To replace them, West Germany and America made a joint effort to create a all-purpose main battle tank, and thus created the Main Battle Tank 70, or in Germany known as the Kampfpanzer 70. This project used new technology such as a much improved chassis, and all the crew being placed in their own separate compartments in the turret. Its main gun was also meant to fire anti-tank guided missiles as well as normal shells. Unfortunately, the project proved too expensive for either country's budgets, and so it was abandoned in favor of modifications to already existing main battle tanks, though many parts of it were used in the Leopard 2 and M1 Abrams projects. In World of Tanks Blitz, it plays as a heavy support, because though it has great turret armor, its hull armor is weak, so hull down positions are recommended. Also, despite it being a heavy tank, it was fast, so you can support either mediums or heavies. Now, for some games. Okay, for the first round, we are on Naval Frontier, top tier. My platoon mates inside of a Batchat 25 TAP, and I'm, of course, in the Kampfpanzer 70. And you're about to see that even though this tank is a heavy tank, it actually is very good speed. Pretty comparable to medium speed. So we all decided to end up going right, because actually I don't really know why we do, but that is our team choice. So yeah, I'm getting pushed here. Yeah, you can see even, well, if you would stop pushing me for a second. Even without getting pushed, I still got pretty good speeds, even though I'm a heavy tank. And also, yeah, the hull armor of this thing is pretty nil, but you're about to see. So I turn the corner, I think I'm dead, but all those shots go into my turret, so they all ricochet, because this thing's turret is like an auto ricochet. Except for some parts, like where the driver sits and stuff. That can be penned, but it's kind of hard to hit there. The driver sits on the weird little turret hatch on the left-hand side of the turret, if you're wondering. So, I can try to continue doing this hold down thing, but the gun depression on this tank, if it was better, this tank would be an absolute monster at being hold down, but to be honest, the gun depression just isn't good enough to let it do that. So the VK turns the corner. Well, it's about to. But, I mean, I don't really... Not 100% sure. So, after jerking that shot into the ground, I decide, you know, I'm just going to repair my gun. And, like, he just gets a shot into my hull. I'm still trying to keep it so they can only hit my turret. Also, you can see how long the reload is on this gun. Because even though it has an alpha of, like, 500 to 600 damage, because the reload is so long, this tank is an incredibly low DPM for a tier 9 heavy tank. That was a lucky shot. I got it into the turret cheek of the M103, but the VK decides to finally put on his man pants and turns around the corner and gets a shot into me. But luckily, the Leopard prototype behind me moves forward, and I aim for a shot in the VK, but my gun depression just isn't good enough, and I want to reverse before I take any more damage, so I get out of there. The Leopard prototype decides he's going to flank around that side, and oh god, that shot. I hit the very, very thin band of armor on the front of the IS-6 that I couldn't pen, even though, as you'll see when I go into sniper mode against him, I can pen everywhere else. So that was just me being really unlucky. So finally, this thing's done reloading. And see, yeah, the band on the front, I mean, he's over-angling that time. But here's why you can kind of see why this tank needs so much support, is because its reload is so long that if it gets rushed when it's reloading, it's just done. So now they only have a T-54 left, so I was sort of hoping, you know, maybe I'd get a shot into it or something. Up. And bang. But for some reason, I wasn't able to press the fire button in time. And so then I spectate my friend, the Batchat, who also gets knocked out. Credit to CC Sif for helping me out, by the way. And then the Leopard prototype pretty quickly finishes the job. And we win. Not very good, but also not very bad either. 1,585, which is pretty bad for tier 9, but it's not the worst. Okay, to round 2. Okay, so we are on Castilla. It's a Supremacy game, and a tier 9 game once again. And this is one of the worst games I've ever had in my December, for a warning ahead. So, I kind of accidentally clicked base A, because I think maybe we'll be able to go to it, but I decided in the end, because they have heavy tanks, and this thing's pretty good at killing heavy tanks, to head to base C. This game I should have done a lot better than I ended up doing because of just horrible luck on my aiming. You're about to see how kind of trollish this gun can be, and also why you shouldn't try to use auto aim for a lot of stuff. So I guess even after, what, 25,000 battles, I haven't learned yet. Anyway, so our Yog Tiger's taking point, and there's a Kampfpanzer up there, and there's also, I know there's an IS-3 up there. And we have two people who go up to try to snipe up near the castle. I see the T-54, but I don't try to fire. And then I get hit by the Lova. Still haven't fired yet. I thought I was hull down enough, but apparently I wasn't, so... Now, their Kampfpanzer starts complaining about campers on the castle hill. My platoon mate, CC Sift, who's the grammar Nazi through and through, and also likes correcting people, decides to write, no, it is not a castle. It is, in fact, a... What was it? It's not a castle. Hang on, try this on the level. Bounces off the gun manlet, goes sky high, and I get hit again by... It's a church. Top 10 petty crud. And their Kampfpanzer are still whining away about it. And our Patton responds, yes, I am camping, fight me. Come and get us. And so, I'm trying to find another rep for it. I do not know what my platoonmate's doing in his bat shot, he's just camping up there. Not really doing that much damage. I mean, I can't talk, I've done 0 damage so far myself. And lost more than a third of my hit points, so... Then I see the IS-3. I finally aim up a shot.
That one didn't go through.
And it somehow bounces. I don't even know how that bounces. But it does. So, my platoon in the bat chat tries to aim up a shot, but they're still aiming, so he reverses away. Meanwhile, our Patton decides to ditch the hill and come down. Heh. You gotta love the amazing chat.
We didn't even scratch
And the shot crashes into the Lova's turret and bounces off again. At this point, I'm getting a little bit fed up with how many shots I'm just messing up here in a row. I get spotted, I sort of go forward, try to see if there's anything to put a shot into. Focus fire on the Lova, but there's no way I'm going to pen that, especially with my luck given this game. So, I get hit by the T-54. Still don't get the shot back into him. Finally, and then the shot derps into the ground right in front of him. This gun is so trollish because of it not having a long barrel, and sometimes the velocity not being very good on it, because it was... Thanks, RU. Because it wasn't, because it was meant to fire ATGMs, it doesn't have anywhere near as good accuracy as some other guns. They're meant to just fire shots. I get hit again, and I've still done a grand total of 0 damage, and I'm seriously getting sick of this. My platoon mate, for some reason, decides to YOLO out. And I turn around and I try to help him kill the VK-45.2B. Now he's getting a clip in. Leaves him on. I drop a shot on the ground. Still 0 damage. And now he's on the reload, and I can't help because I'm still doing a grand total of 0 damage, and we're getting our butt kicked. So he's calling for help, and I'm still reloading, so I'm telling him I'm reloading. That was a second sooner there. But I knock him out. 200 damage in a sheer 9 game. Very effective. So then I decided, well, I only see the turret of the Kampfpanzer 70, and this thing actually has really good HE with good penetration. I don't really know how much the splash is if it doesn't pen. But I almost hit a shot off, and then the T-54 comes around the flank. I bounce a shot off the back of the turret somehow. Now I'm on 387 health. This is just going horribly for me. So I've done still like, what, 250 damage or something? Now I'm just like, you know what? I want a little bit more damage than if I die for it. So, shot into the T-54, bounce a shot from the Lova, and the game's over before I can get killed by the T-54. That was probably one of my worst games in this tank. So now to round. Okay, so we are in an encounter battle on Desert Sands, and this battle is kind of funny because almost all the players in this game used to be on the separate teams. So we've played with every single other player here, but everything just got switched around, which is what it's a kind of funny game. So people are talking to each other already. it was another round I hadn't recorded I did right before this, because I did even somehow worse than the round before this. And so there's a ton of 1-2-1 Bs out, which I find kind of surprising, because there was only supposed to be a 5% chance of getting it in a chest. And apparently people are willing to shell out $160 for the almost guarantee of getting one of these. I just don't think it's worth it at all. So I take another pretty aggressive position. Now, unfortunately enough, I can't really go hold down here, and so the E100 gets a shot into me. I reverse. It's not working too well. And then my platoon mate realizes this guy named T95 is the only tank for me is on their team. And this is kind of funny because this guy has like 43k battles, and almost all of them are in the T95. He has more battles in the T95 than I have battles in any of my tanks. And I don't even know how you would play that many battles in the T95 without having mentally insane. I think it's just so slow. Anyway, I get my first shot into the 1-2-1B. That thing seems to have good frontal armor, but really weak side armor, which is good for me. I still don't see the appeal of that tank. Anyway, so I see the E100 still aiming at me, and I realize one more shot from him, and I'm dead. So I'm waiting for him to aim somewhere else. I'm not 100% sure if I'm still spotted or not, to be honest. And then finally, my platoon mate and the rest of the flankers make it around the back, and he decides to turn his turret. So I drive forward and get a shot in while he's doing that, and reverse out of there before he turns his turret back. Now I'm still kind of camping back here because I realize if I go out, that E100 is going to one-shot me. So I think, oh god, he's going for me, I'm dead. Then he decides for some reason to head around that side. I don't know why, to be honest, but he does it. So I'm waiting for him to keep going, but he decides, you know, I'm going to camp back here. So I decide to push up a little bit, and for somehow I knock out that Object 704 without him knocking me out. He's camping bush, according to his name. So, I'm on 1 kill. I've got 2 shots in so far. It's not that... Well, I mean, if the game ended like this, it'd be horrible, but it hasn't yet, so... Here, I try to get a shot in the T-54, and it ends up just getting hit with part of the carcass of the IS-8. And I'm still really worried about the E-100, like he's going to turn the corner or something and completely wreck me. And he starts doing it, but he thinks I'm going to run away from the other side. So he puts a shot into somebody else. So it's me put a shot into his tracks. And, yeah, this was actually still a pretty bad run, but you kind of get the gist of how this game, a tank plays. It's a support tank, and I think I was playing it slightly too aggressively. So, yeah. We won that 6-1. So, a pretty good round overall. This thing makes a good amount of money, as it's a premium tank, obviously, so I got 45k. I did 2,000 damage, so actually not horrible. Obviously not as good as our 120B or anything. My platoon mate did god-awful. It's 0 damage. And I'm going to show you the stats of this T95 player, because it's kind of insane. Okay, yeah, so as you can see, this guy, 49,000 battles, almost 60% win rate, 42k of them are inside the T95. 61% win rate, 26,000 wins, 15,000 defeats. In conclusion, this is a pretty good overall tier 9 heavy tank. So now to go over the Holy Trinity. For the speed, I gave it a 7 out of 10, because even though it's a heavy tank, it can keep up with some mediums, and do easy support work for either heavies or mediums, given your choice, because you're fast enough to be able to do that. For the armor, I also gave it a 7 out of 10. This is because, though the turret armor is almost invincible, the hull armor is incredibly weak, so if you can't find a good hull down position, people are just going to shoot your hull, even though there are basically no modules in there to get damaged, which is a good point on that. And for the gun, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Because of its incredibly high alpha, it can basically one-shot anyone who's on lower than 525 health, though it does have an incredibly long reload, which gives it a very low DPM. So, do I think this tank is worth it or not? To be honest, I don't think it's worth its full price, as it's a tier 9 premium tank, but there are other tier 9 tanks that are as good, if not better than it, such as, I would give some examples, such as the T-54 or the ST-1. Or the E75. I don't know. Those are some tier 9 tanks I really like. Or to some people, the T95. But I feel like if it was ever given for a more discounted price or put back into event, I would say it's definitely worth the grind. Yeah. That's all for this review. Thanks for watching. Until next time.